Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is just a little video here on what you need to know before you sell your home. Now, this is not an exhaustive list or a detailed, thorough explanation of everything involved, but it is what I typically see when selling a client's property and helping someone sell, and it's good information to get in your head before you go through the process. So I'll run through them, and of course, if you have questions, you can comment below and I'll try to get back to you, or just connect with me anytime. But what you need to know when you're selling your home. The first thing is why. What is your motivation to sell? Motivation to sell a home does actually play a factor into the whole process. If you're selling because you're moving out of the area, if you're downsizing from one place to another and you've got no mortgage on your property, if you're selling because you've lost a job and you've got a huge mortgage, if it's a divorce, there are so many different reasons to be selling a property. Motivation does play a role. And one of the reasons why that plays a role is time. Time spent on the market can be dictated by your motivation. If you're in a hurry to sell the property, you're going to want to price it extremely well. And get it sold. If you have more time, you can try to test the market and push it a little bit further, depending, of course, on all the circumstances that are involved. But motivation is the key thing to really understand why you want to move. If you can pinpoint why you want to move, everything else will fall into place. Okay, so the second thing we're going to talk about is what is the current market doing? The real estate market is always changing. There are seasonal trends. So you've got your spring market, winter market, fall market, summer market, obviously. And where we live, which is Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the seasonal trends are pretty busy in the spring, pretty busy in the fall. The other two markets is a little bit slower. But you want to know what the market's doing when you want to sell your home. And of course, your motivation is going to play into that factor as well. But beyond the market conditions, you want to know what's happening in your local market. So you might know that the market in Toronto, for example, overall is doing well or is busy. But in your pocket, in your neighborhood, or in your style of home, for example, if you have a semi-detached in a neighborhood that's filled with detached homes, maybe the market's a little bit different. Understanding the accurate current local market conditions and when that's going to be prime for you to sell is going to play in a factor. Of course, the best way to find that out is to contact a local realtor who specializes in your neighborhood, and you'll be able to get that information and analyze it collectively to find out if it's a good time to sell, depending on your motivation. Next, we've got repair. Now, one of the biggest things when you're going to sell a home is trying to figure out what needs to be repaired. Now, I'm not talking about cosmetic changes in this point. This is about repairs. Maintenance and repairs of mechanical, structural, or actual problems. Now, one of the things that we can do, and a lot of people do, is called a pre-list home inspection. Okay? Now, what a pre-list home inspection can do, and not everyone does this, but what it can do is it can let you know what deficiencies are in your property. Now, there's deficiencies in every property for sure, but it will allow you to find out what deficiencies are there so that there's no surprises to you when you go to sell. And if you get an offer on the property, it's not going to scare someone off. So you'll be aware well of it. You can address any issues that do come up, whether they're minor or major. But you can make those decisions based on this pre-list home inspection that you get at the time. And then decide what you want to do before you sell. And once again, ties right back up to motivation. If you need to do it quickly, maybe some of the things on this list won't be necessary to do, but these are things that can potentially really affect the home sale value or the property sale value, depending on what you have and what shows up on a pre-list home inspection. But the main thing really is to be fully aware yourself and make those decisions yourself. Now, we go down to refresh. Of course, one of the biggest things is curb appeal, right? Curb appeal, staging, paint, you name it. But it is very important. You want, when an individual comes to your property, to walk into it with a great feeling right when they get there. So they're going to come see the property, like it from the second they walk up. They're going to see the pictures once it's listed for sale. They're going to love the pictures inside. Again, ties back to your motivation. If you've got the time to do so, there's many ways to approach it. You can get professional services to help declutter, which is one of the biggest things, is not just decluttering, but depersonalizing a property to a certain extent. A staging consultation, they can recommend what kind of paint you're going to use or what you need or should paint. Not need to, because you don't need to do anything, but what you should do. And they're going to give you a whole bunch of valuable information along with a realtor who's going to walk through the property and say, this needs to happen if you want to sell your home, and market it to the most amount of people possible. Because once a realtor takes over, it's a marketing job, and they want to be marketing it to the most people possible. And when they see it, you want them to fall in love with it so that they've already made up a decision in their mind that they want to buy this property. That's where you're going to get your most value. Okay? So there's a lot to go in with that, but this is stuff to think about ahead of time, because every single point here takes time. Okay, now, once you're here, you're going to look at considering what costs are involved in selling. Again, based on your motivation, you need to understand the costs. So what are some of the costs? Obviously, all of the above cost something, okay? Now, some of these fees might be covered in conjunction with your realtor team, whoever you choose to work with. A lot will come out of your own pocket up front to get your home in ready shape to sell. And then you're going to have, obviously, realtor fees. I can't even spell realtor. Realtor fees. And of course, that's unless you sell it yourself, which you can. But if you've got realtors, they're going to cost something. And you're going to have legal fees, okay, to sell. You don't incur too many other costs on a sale. The majority is going to be what you do to get the home ready for sale up in this area, real estate and legal. And talking with a realtor or a lawyer is going to give you a ballpark idea of what those are. The realtor commissions and legal fees do vary, but they're usually pretty similar. So you do your due diligence, a call ahead of time, but you'll want to know this to make the decisions, especially based on, once again, what your motivation is. So again, there's a ton more information in what to think about when selling your home, but these are some of the things that you want to think about right off the bat and get your mind working, because it's not something that you can just think, I want to sell my house, I'm selling it tomorrow, and it's done. Of course that's possible, but that's not how you'll get the most money. And of course, when you sell such a large asset, you want to get the most money. So hopefully this information is a little bit helpful and something you didn't know. Any other questions, just comment or hit me up, and I'd love to help out. Catch you in the next episode.